G'day YouTube, Warbles on a lot here with a mad scientist product review for you to think about. Concerns a product called BONDIC from a company called, appropriately enough, notaglue. This product device came to my attention via an ad on YouTube which ran several times a day for a couple of days, went away for a week and came back again. And it got me, particularly the theory of being able to repair plastic glasses, add insulation to wires or soldered connections, fix leaks, produce a plastic nut, reproduce the thread accurately off a bolt. My son, the auto electrician, had a birthday coming up. So Warbles decided in his wisdom to contribute something which would perhaps be useful in the workshop. And, like that gave me an excuse to buy one for me. And the theory was 2 pens, each one comes with a spare cartridge of the juice, magic juice, and 1 packet of 5 refills. And that 98 American dollars, which is like 148 Australian dollars. And it finally showed up, and I had been barely restrained from getting 2 packets of the 5 refills, which would have been even more money. And when it arrived, we find that there's not much to the refill to the pen, and the actual ultraviolet torch, which makes the juice go off, that comes out of the holder. So yeah, 29 American dollars for that, with a spare cartridge. We expected 2 pens and 9 cartridges of juice in all. What we got was 5 pens and 5 spare cartridges. So we got 3 of these little pen things and 1 of these cartridge things for free, so to speak. Then my son had a go at using it, and it didn't work the way he expected it to work, because when you watch the YouTube video, it sort of seems a lot like the stuff that dentists use to patch teeth with. Viscous enough that you can push it into a gap and it'll sit there, and then you come at it with the ultraviolet light and it'll cure there, and then if you need to, you can file it back or shape it, sand it. So yeah, I had various difficult to accomplish with ordinary glue type jobs that I was looking forward to using this stuff on. And then I read the teeny tiny concertina folded document which comes inside the lid. I read both sides of the document, which happily it's multilingual, but some of it is really teeny tiny fine print indeed. And there's a fair few of these hazards symbols. Danger, first aid. So, because they never let a chance to go by with marketing jism, underneath the foam there's yet another advertising brochure offering gold, silver and platinum professional kits of the things. Righto, so here's what they got to say. Store this information. Please do not return this product to the store. Call us first. Questions, missing and or damaged parts. Please contact BONDIC customer service. Universal fixing, repairing and moulding plastic, hardens in seconds with the LED light, can be milled, drilled, polished and painted after hardening. Temperature resistant, -40 to +150 degrees Celsius. Hardness, Shaw D, 80 to 85. For further information, please email them. Applications. For many household, hobby and professional repairs. Use on metal, wood, plastic, stone, brick, glass, ceramic, etc. Modelling, building, electronics, low current, low voltage. Decorations and designs, temporary or permanent. Miniature moulds, automotive sector, motorboats, sailboats, labs and workshops. Directions for use. The bottom surface must be clean and free of dust and grease. BONDIC is not a glue and will not work like one. The surface must be rough in order for the fluid to grab onto the material when cured. Begin by removing the small black cap found at the bottom of the black BONDIC cartridge. Squeeze the BONDIC refill cartridge with your fingers to dispense the fluid. Activate the LED by pressing together using the thumb and index finger, short mode, by moving the small switch downward on the rear side of the LED continuous operation. Allow BONDIC to harden with the help of the LED in 4 to 8 seconds. Depending on the required thickness, apply BONDIC in several layers and allow each layer to harden. Layers thicker than 1 millimetre require more time to harden. Surfaces can be refined, bracket, milled, cut, polished, painted, close bracket. All bonded surfaces should be clean and free from grease, mould release, or other contaminants prior to dispensing adhesive. Cure speed is dependent upon many variables, including lamp intensity, distance from the light source, required depth of cure, bond gap, and percent light transmission of the substrate. Cured parts should be allowed to cool before testing and subjecting to any loads. Add additional layers at any time. BONDIC hardens only in places that can be reached by the LED light. Please refer to the user videos and training sessions. Possible hazards. It is hazardous to your health to breathe and to touch. Irritates the eyes, respiratory system, and skin. Safety recommendations. Never look directly into the LED light or direct the LED light on an eye. It can cause permanent damage. Only use the LED for a maximum of 10 seconds at a minimum of 25 inches away from the eye, and apply only for the intended use. LED belongs to risk group 1, bracket blue light. Keep out of reach of children. Avoid contact with eyes and skin. In case of contact with eyes, rinse thoroughly with water and consult a doctor. After contact with skin, wash immediately. Uncured material may be wiped away from surfaces with organic solvents. Do not use solvents to remove material from eyes or skin, contaminants prior to dispensing the adhesive. Do not empty into sewage systems. This product and its containers should be hardened using the BONDIC LED light and then recycled properly. Precautions when in use. BONDIC is not a solder substitute. When insulating with BONDIC, always make sure that there is a connection with low electrical resistance prior to use. Use BONDIC only when isolating low voltage connections, bracket low current. This applies in electronics to an AC voltage up to 50 volts, RMS value, and DC voltage up to 120 volts. BONDIC is not suitable for isolating, bonding and or repairing defective components in a high voltage range, 200 to 245 volts AC, 50 to 60 Hertz or higher AC. BONDIC is not a general substitute for nails, screws, plugs and dowels. Due to different thermal expansion coefficients of various materials, BONDIC can be actively or passively detached from the base at high temperature differences. So it's got a few whiskers on it. A, we are told sand the surface. We are then told fill and layer. We are then told UV cure 3 to 4 seconds, file, sand and shape. Headed tips and tricks. Cure layers no thicker than 1.5 millimeters. Cure each layer separately. Cure BONDIC layers with the LED. We're given diagrammatic instructions how to work an on-off switch. For added strength, create holes or rivets on the surface you are bonding. This allows the BONDIC fluid to flow into and grab onto the bonded areas, as shown here in at, with that grey area being your BONDIC. Application examples: repair glasses. Voila. Connecting profiles with little surface area. Roughen surfaces to be joined with a file and clean degrease with alcohol wipe. Number of layers determines the stability. Harden layer by layer with the LED. Finally, the new surface produced with BONDIC can be edited. Bracket, clean then polish as needed. Milling or filing, grinding, degrease and paint if you desire. close bracket. Housing repair. Construct or replace missing or destroyed fragments, roughen surface, clean and degrease with alcohol wipe. Create best bond by making surface rough with undercuts. Apply in layers until the desired shape is achieved. Refine by grinding, milling, sanding, painting, etc. Here we have protection. Sealing of all types of surfaces. Apply BONDIC in layers until the desired thickness is reached. Use in motor vehicles and boats, recreational equipment and more. Be creative with BONDIC. Connect smallest elements in structures of all kinds. Connect parts without pressure. Cure time is user determined with the LED. Residue-free removal is possible. Create 3D effects and objects by layering 1.5 millimeters at a time. Grinding, milling, polishing, sandishing, painting, etc. So it's not a glue, it's more like a handheld 3D printer working in UV setting plastic, a very thin, runny version. Because in the ad on YouTube, we saw it being rubbed on somebody's fingers, like, look, see, it's really slimy, it's slippery, easy to use, go anywhere. And then it turns out that as well as roughly 30% of the screed on the first page, that's the entire thing, maybe even 40% of the screed being devoted to possible hazards and precautions in use and safety recommendations. It's the same on the flip side. 40% of the sheet is hazards identification and danger and first aid measures. And here's what that says in all its glory. Danger causes skin irritation, causes serious eye irritation, may cause an allergic skin reaction, causes damage to organs through prolonged or repeated exposure, harmful to aquatic life with long-lasting effects. If medical advice is needed, have product container or label at hand. Keep out of reach of children. Read label before use. Wear protective gloves, eye protection. Avoid release to the environment. If in eyes, rinse cautiously with water for several minutes. Remove contact lenses if present and easy to do. Continue rinsing. If on skin, wash with plenty of water. If skin irritation or rash occurs, get medical advice attention. If eye irritation persists, get medical advice or attention. Dispose of contents to comply with local, national and international regulations. Treat symptomatically. That means they've got no idea of any treatment or antidote, just do what feels good. For medical emergencies, contact a local poison control centre or 911 immediately. Not in Australia, that won't work. For information only, call toll-free, disclaimer, because Laser Bonding Tech Incorporated, LBTI, has no control over surface compatibility or the way this product is used. We cannot guarantee the performance of product. LBTI's liability is limited to a BONDIC refill replacement. First aid measures. General information. Immediately remove any clothing soiled by the product. Symptoms of poisoning may occur even after several hours, therefore medical observation for at least 48 hours after the accident. After inhalation, supply fresh air and call for a doctor. In case of unconsciousness, place patient in side position for transportation. After skin contact, immediately wash with water and soap and rinse thoroughly. If skin irritation continues, consult a doctor. After eye contact, rinse opened eye for several minutes under running water. If symptoms persist, consult a doctor. After swallowing, immediately call a doctor. I particularly kind of underlined that bit there. Causes damage to organs through prolonged or repeated exposure. And it gets in through your skin or the fumes. And down here in the hazards identification, classification of the substance or mixture. GS08 health hazard causes damage to organs through prolonged exposure or repeated exposure. GHS07 causes skin irritation. Causes skin irritation, causes serious eye irritation, may cause allergic skin reaction, harmful to aquatic life with long-lasting effects. So it even kills the fish. So well, with all those limitations, it's kind of almost difficult to think of anything that I can use it for in the immediate short term. My son, the auto electrician, has successfully, he thinks, after one false attempt on something else, he's repaired a 12-volt switch surround. But what he did was he used ordinary common or garden variety super glue to actually butt joint the broken pieces of plastic. And then after he'd got super glue to butt joint the old sick, sad, ultraviolet degraded plastic and hold it in the right place, then he's lightly sanded the outside of it, covered the outside of the relocated, gently held in place with super glue type pieces, and then he's cured this stuff over the top of it. So he's built a splint or a sheath, what in nautical carpentry terms would be he has fished the fault. That means carving a splint that's close fitting and fits around the outside and then binding that around the broken bit. So yeah, not entirely useless, but by golly, by jingo, by geez, shucks, it really isn't and doesn't do what I thought it was going to do and what it was going to be. But, you know, that just speaks to the miracles of modern marketing jism and the power of the image in a video. Welcome to my brush cutter. See there, we're missing a piece of plastic and we're missing a piece of plastic there, and I have restrained myself for years from replacing that, curing it, fixing it with araldite and aluminium, because it really isn't that critical kind of thing. But as a test project, that's what I think I'm going to have a go at, using the BONDIC to try and fix. So there you go, and now you know when they say not a glue, they bloody well mean it. And the surprising part about it is it turns out to be a Canadian company behind that devious marketing campaign, which led me, and I like to think I'm fairly astute, to actually think I could use that stuff as a glue. But of course, if you put it between any tight-fitting surfaces, like the two halves of a broken anything, the ultraviolet light can't get in there. And if the ultraviolet light can't get in there, it can't cure it. And that's why it's not a glue. So there, Warbles on a lot to YouTube. Ciao.